Alright, so I think I want to do one more episode tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and hop back on the ladder. Pro Trees is basically the latest iteration of Trees. If you've been following Trees, then you know that it involves Trevenant in the rain, and we get matched up against Team MPA. And it looks like a pretty hard Hail team. It's probably a Scarf Vanillux. I mean, that's the most popular item on Vanillux. So I think that I'll lead Pelipper Tapu Koko. That's usually what I'm inclined to lead in opposing weather matchups, just so that I can shuffle weather if I need to, and my opponent doesn't have a lightning rod user, so I think Buzzwole looks really good here, and Marowak looks really good, and I just need to make sure not to switch into Marowak when I'm going for my Volt Switch shuffles, but honestly, without an opposing Tapu Lele, that shouldn't be too difficult. So, yeah, we'll go with this. This is usually what I like leading against, or what I usually like going with against Hail teams, and it usually works pretty well. So, we will see. The great thing about Sandslash is it doesn't have very many options to hit my Buzzwole, so, as long as we can maintain an advantage, we'll have a great option. We'll have great options against Sandslash. So let's see what happens here. Alright, so my Surge goes up, and it's a slower Vanillux. So, my opponent is going to have a faster Sandslash. And it might be like a Ground EMZ Sandslash. I know that I definitely want to switch my Buzzwole in here, and I'm highly inclined to Volt Switch the Vanillux. But I think I might Volt Switch the Sandslash instead. Like, if I'm my opponent here, I go with an attack on Sandslash, and if it happens to be Ground EMZ, then I'll work with it. That's just what I gotta work with. So, we will see. Alright, my opponent withdraws their Vanillux into Goodra. And what does the Sandslash do? The Sandslash goes for Aurora Veil. Alright, that's interesting. I knew that Sandslash could learn that, but still a really different choice. And Volt Switch still does a whole hell of a lot to that. So, I get to switch my Pelipper back in, which is really cool. What I am inclined to do in this scenario is set up a Tailwind and go for an Earthquake. It seems like the right thing to do. Yeah, it definitely seems like the right thing to do. That Goodra is going to be a bit of a menace as long as Aurora Veil's up, but I can stall for 4 turns. So, alright, so opposing Sandslash goes for Protect, that's cool. We get our Tailwind up, also cool. Probably going to see a Thunderbolt on the Pelipper, that's fine. And this Earthquake's probably not going to do much to the Goodra, to be honest. But we will see. It does actually a respectable amount. So, yeah, Thunderbolting my Pelipper. So, my opponent knows that I have... don't paralyze me. Alright, cool. So, I think what I will do is I will Ice Punch the Goodra. And I will switch in Marowak. Seems right. It seems really right. If my opponent has their Sand Slash, then I don't anticipate... Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get a Hail Boost from this. I'm gonna get a Hail Boosted Ice Punch off on this Goodra. That's really good. Yeah, that's really, really good. Oh, and it still doesn't get it. Wow. Even with the Hail Boost. So hopefully this doesn't freeze my Buzzwole. Alright, it does not freeze my Buzzwole. So we're actually looking really, really good still. My opponent could switch in Sand Slash into the Goodra slot, but I don't see how much of an advantage that gives my opponent. And I'm gonna Flare Blitz this Vanillux pretty freely here. I wonder what... They could have Arcanine or Gyarados as their last Pokemon, and honestly, this is a great opportunity to switch in either. Maybe I should consider that. No, I think I'm just gonna go for this. I think this is the correct play. Cool, so I'm gonna get a double KO. And I'm definitely gonna get a Beast Boost as well, so that'll be nice. This might be a Sash Vanillux, so we'll see. But, I mean, this is a Thick Club Flare Blitz coming out against this Vanillux, so... Alright, nope, we just get to KO the Vanillux. So, that's really awesome. It's gonna do a lot of damage to me, however, we'll see what my opponent brings in as a response. Buzzwole Sleep is looking really imminent here. Like, really, really imminent. My opponent has a Muck in the back, so, interesting. I think, yeah, that what I end up doing here is I just go for an Earthquake, and I think I will switch in my Pelipper. I just want to get that Sand Slash off of Hail. And I'm probably... Okay, cool. So I take a win here. Yeah, cool. So that's going to give us some points. That's definitely going to give us some points. We're still in this. And yeah, we'll see what the next battle looks like. So, yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying Pro Trees so far. It's definitely a very aggressive team, as you can see. Like, it finishes matches very, very quickly. The Trick Room mode is what we ended up using the most at the tournament, actually, which is really, really interesting because, like, it wasn't what we were planning to do. Like, Jarek and I entirely expected that we would get matched up against a lot of Lele Drifloon teams, and that didn't end up happening, so it ended up being, like, a lot of grinding with Trevenant, and, yeah. So, yeah, it was a different kind of game, you know? It was, like, it was an interesting tournament. I'll just say that. It was an interesting tournament. So, yeah, hopefully we get matched up with another opponent pretty soon here. Alright, so we get matched up against Jasm from Costa Rica. And Jasm's got a pretty interesting team. It looks like it's going to be a Finny Blim team. So that makes me want to lead with Trevenant. And I think I'll go with Trevenant and Tapu Koko. And then I will put Pelipper looks really, really good, and so does Buzzwole against most of this team. Yeah, I think I like Buzzwole because my opponent's going to be setting up Misty Terrain, so they won't be able to Will-O-Wisp my Buzzwole. My opponent also doesn't have a... Trick Room setter. Like, Pelipper's gonna be really, 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 really good for the, Pheromosa. But Marowak would be good against... I think it's Pelipper. This is an interesting combination. Alright, cool. We're gonna go with this. Yeah, this will be an interesting one. For sure. This will be an interesting one. So, Tapu Fini and Drifblim are an interesting combination that have been being used to counter Tapu Lele and Drifblim. So, but I think that Trevenant does really well against them. So, my opponent's probably going to Shadow Ball my Tapu Koko here, and that's fine. So yeah, Misty Seed on the Drifblim. Typical. Really, really typical. We're just going to Trick Room here, and I will go for a Volt Switch onto the Drifblim. If it switches into Garchomp, then my opponent's a Lord. Alright, cool. So my opponent switches into Garchomp, so fine. Wow. My opponent made all the right plays. That's, really... I mean, applause for my opponent. A million applause for my opponent. However, they dropped all the things on their Trevenant, or on their Drifblim, so I think that I will protect my Tapu Koko here and burn off a Protect turn, because I think that the Tapu Fini probably protects. Yeah, definitely. So, alright, so this is kind of bad for me, however, not the worst. I get a little bit of damage off on the Garchomp. And it's not an, it's not a Scarf Garchomp, which is important. So, I will Volt Switch into my Pelipper, and I will Horn Leech the Tapu Fini. So, I think I did the best thing that I could do on that turn. Switching into Buzzwole would have been really bad. So, oh, we get a crit. Alright, so that's important. That is very important. However, it's a Pinch Berry Tapu Fini. So, doesn't matter that much. I'll switch in my Pelipper. Also, yeah, something to note is that... Oh, Garchomp has Rock Slide. That's really interesting. So, hopefully we don't flinch here. And my opponent... I think my opponent called my switch. And it's a Smart Strike Tapu Fini. Alright. And we get our Horn Leech off. Cool. Alright, I guess there's a first time for everything, right? So my opponent's probably gonna taunt again. I am inclined to Horn Leech the Tapu Fini and protect my Pelipper. I probably should have let Pelipper go down there. Yeah, because of this switch. So now my opponent can set up a Tailwind. And another Swords Dance. Alright, so we're gonna get a Horn Leech off on this Drifblim. It does a bit, but, you know, it's a flying type, so... My opponent can just Shadow Ball me on this next turn, and it'll do quite a bit, and then Rock Slide should finish me off as long as it connects. But I will go ahead and Trick Room, just in case. And I think that I will Hurricane the Garchomp, question mark? Yeah, I think I'll do it. Yeah, so Rock Slide comes out, it connects with both. That's going to do a lot to Trevenant. And it's going to proc my Berry. And I should still be in Shadow Ball range, so... Oh, my opponent goes for Tailwind. Please don't flinch, please don't flinch. Please don't flinch, Trevenant. Alright, cool, so we get Trick Room up. So that's rad. So now I should be pretty well poised to go for a Buzzwole sweep. So I think I'll do that. So I think on this next turn what I do is I Will-O-Wisp the Garchomp and I Ice Punch the Drifblim. That seems right. Okay, so Garchomp protects. I probably should have doubled the Drifblim. Hopefully this Ice Punch KOs. If it doesn't, I'm going to be in a bit of a tough spot. Because my opponent can... Ugh, barely not enough. Oh, but it freezes. Alright, cool. So, alright. I will take those hacks. I will definitely take those hacks. Alright, cool. Yeah, I've been getting pretty fortunate on these last couple episodes. So I will Horn Leech the Drifblim on this turn, and I will Ice Punch the Garchomp. And if my opponent switches out his Garchomp, then her Garchomp, then she loses all her +4 boosting and such. So, cool. So we get to KO the Drifblim, and we're also gonna get a boost on Buzzwole, which is cool. So, I should have doubled the Drifblim. And for future reference, that's what you should do too in these situations. And I was considering it. So, we're going to get our Buzzwole boost here. And that's great. And we lose our Rain, however, oh, okay. So, alright, we're going to call that an episode. Thanks for watching, guys. My opponent disconnected. We'll just say that it was a random chance. However, I did hacks out my opponent a little bit, so for what it's worth. If you disconnected there deliberately, I totally get it. And I probably would have done the same thing. So, if you're new to the channel, I would love it if you would click on that subscribe button. It's, you know, this is a pretty low-hanging channel right now, and I think that I give you guys pretty great content. So, it would mean the world to me if you would share this with your friends and click on the subscribe button or whatever. And let me know what you think of Pro Trees in the comments. I think it's a really, really strong team. It's just, it's lacking some switch potential. But as long as you can stay on your front foot, it's a really aggressive team, and it's a lot of fun to play. So, thanks for watching, guys. Once again, I'm Kevin, and I go by Skyburial. And, yeah, stay tuned for more episodes.